Welcome back to the SWAYAM program again. Today we are going to learn data in libraries, its types and sources, as well as about digital footprint. Learners, libraries serve as repositories of knowledge, offering a wide range of information sources to meet the diverse needs of users. These sources are broadly categorized based on their format, content, and the purpose. Understanding the types of information sources is very essential for effectively locating and utilizing the right materials for research, learning, and personal development. Learners, this is today's agenda of discussion. First of all, we are going to discuss on categorization of information sources, documentary source and non-documentary source in detail, distinction between primary, secondary, and tertiary sources, digital footprint in digital libraries, types of digital footprint, and the measures to increase digital footprint in libraries. Information is generated through various processes, preserved in multiple formats, and provided to users for a wide range of purposes. People seek information for activities like education, research, problem solving, or entertainment. The information users require can be classified into categories such as current information need, background information need, statistical or research focused information. For information to hold true value, it must be effectively used and make a meaningful impact. Research and practical experience emphasize the high quality information has certain essential characteristics. It should be relevant to the user's needs. Now let us see how different eminent authors categorize the information sources. The categorization of sources done by Grogan, categorization of sources done by S.R. Ranganathan, and by Hanson. According to Grogan, the famous British information scientist and educator, he classified documents into three categories. One is primary, another is secondary, and third one is tertiary. Dr. S.R. Ranganathan, the father of library science in India, has classified the documentary sources of information into four categories. One is conventional, that includes books, periodicals, maps, and atlases. Neo-conventional, example, standards, specifications, patent, and data. Non-conventional includes audiovisual microforms. Meta-document, that include direct created documents without any human intervention. Published in the year, repeat. C.W. Henson, a former editor of Journal of Documentation, categorized documentary sources of information in his article titled Introduction to Science Information Work. It was published in the year 1971 by Asilip. Hanson classified these information sources into two main groups. One is primary source and second is secondary sources. Primary sources are original, first-hand documents that present new data, findings, or ideas, such as research articles, conference proceedings, patents, and technical reports. The secondary sources, on the other hand, compile, interpret, or summarize information from primary sources. The information sources can also be classified into other groups like documentary sources and non-documentary sources. Depends on the medium where the information has been stored. In the documentary sources, we'll having the primary source, secondary source, and tertiary source. I think I repeat. Now let us see other grouping of information sources. We can group the information sources into two categories mainly. One is documentary source, another is non-documentary source. In documentary source, we can have primary source, secondary source, and tertiary source. It depends on this availability of information in the media. The non-documentary source includes the non-documentary source includes institutions or organizations, humans, mass media other than print media, internet. Now let us explore in detail about what are the major documentary sources. Documentary source of information refer to recorded materials that provide information and knowledge. These are tangible records such as books, journals, reports, and multimedia that document events, data, or ideas. The types of documentary sources include primary, secondary, and tertiary sources of information. The primary sources of information are those sources which contain original information. Primary sources include new raw data, new interpretation of previously known facts or idea, or any new observation or experiment, etc. Some of the important examples of primary sources are periodicals, research reports, conference proceedings, reports of scientific expeditions, official publications, patents, standards, trade literature, theses and dissertations, laboratory notebooks, diaries, personal files, etc. These are the important primary sources because it contains because it contains original information. Now let us see what are the different secondary sources of information. A secondary source of information is a document or recording that interprets, analyzes, or summarizes primary sources. That interprets, analyzes, and summarizes of primary sources of information. Based on the reorganization of information in these sources, the secondary sources can be grouped under the following categories. That is textbooks, normal books, reference books, indexing and abstracting documents, periodicals, indexing periodicals, abstracting periodicals, bibliographic and survey publications. Okay, all these sources of information which contains information about the primary sources. And next one is tertiary sources. A tertiary source is a resource that compiles, summarizes, organizes information from primary and secondary sources. There are typically reference tools or compilations meant for quick and general understanding rather than in-depth analysis of new insights. This type of sources that will compile, summarizes, and organizes information from primary and secondary sources. Dear learners, now let us see some examples of tertiary sources. Almanacs, handbooks, manuals, directories, bibliography of bibliographies, guide to literature, guides to references, sources of union catalogs. These are some examples of tertiary sources. Dear learners, now let us see the distinction between primary, secondary, and tertiary sources. The primary source is a source that contains raw, original, interpreted, and unevaluated information. But in secondary sources that digest, analyze, evaluate, and interpret the information contained within primary sources, they tend to argumentative. And the tertiary sources that compile, analyze, and digest secondary sources, they tend to be factual. The timing of publication cycle, the primary sources tend to come first in the publication cycle, become the first and second in the cycle, and secondary sources tend to come second in the publication cycle, and the tertiary source are the last in publication cycle. As far as formats are concerned, research papers, preprints, letters, conference papers, diaries, correspondence, fiction, poetry, newspaper, articles about current events are the primary source of information. And indexing, abstracting, periodicals, bibliographies, reference books are the secondary source of information. And some references book like directories, bibliography or bibliographies, guides to literature, and the reference works are the examples of tertiary sources. You'll find some examples in the articles in library information science journals are the primary source, or the library information science abstract, LISA, is a secondary source because it is an abstracting service. And the Ulrich periodicals directory is a tertiary source. So we discussed about the primary, secondary, tertiary in detail. Dear learners, now let us see what is non-documentary source. Non-documentary source of information encompass various organizations and individuals that provide knowledge and data through interaction and services rather than recorded materials. These include government departments, universities, technological institutions, data center, referral center, information analysis hubs, and consultants. Additionally, technological gatekeepers and clearing houses play a vital role to produce non-documentary information. Non-documentary sources of information also include discussion with colleagues, visitors, participants of seminars and conferences. When you are discussing with our colleagues about various topics, and we are discussing with our visitors, our participants, and deliberations in the seminars and conferences, it will become non-documentary sources of information. The library, through the referral service, provides access to important non-documentary sources of information, which may include the learned societies, research associations, mass media, etc. And what are the different institutions and organizations as a source of information? These are various categories of institutions. Each one makes available certain type of information or different target users. It is a known fact that information made available by institutions or organizations is always authentic. Various institutions that make available information always sought out by the users are academic institutions, research and development organizations, international agencies, government ministries, departments and agencies, exhibitions and trade fairs, libraries and information centers, etc. Some of the examples are statistical data, research and academic data, policy and legal data, financial and economic data, cultural and historic data, educational and learning resources data are the examples of the information that are provided by the institutions and organizations. Sometimes human beings become a source of information. Humans are valuable source of information, especially for knowledge that has not yet been formally documented. Depending on the type of information required, individuals can provide insights drawn from their expertise, experience, etc. These are the various categories of human that can be considered as source of information. Library consultants, peers experts, resource persons, extensive workers, industrial liaison officers, representative of firms, invisible colleges, technological gatekeepers, patent attorney, common persons, information brokers, etc. As an example, for historical information at a place, the living elderly people of that place are the best source of information. The next is mass media as a source of information. Mass media refers to the communication channels designed to reach wide audience. Thus, channels can be categorized as learners. The mass media also act as a source of information because the mass media plays a vital role in providing news, entertainment, and education on a global scale and represent a significant industry worldwide. Many outlets now integrate digital platforms to expand their reach and adapt to modern consumption patterns. So these channels we can categorize as Broadcast India. These channels can be categorized as a broadcast media, print media, and internet media. In the broadcast media, like television, radio, which transmit content over airwaves to a large audience. In the print media, like newspapers, magazines, and books catering to readers across various regions, and digital platform like news, websites, blogs, and social media, leveraging the global accessibility of the internet to disseminate information. Now let us check how internet acts as a source of information. The internet is a dynamic and interactive digital platform, setting itself apart from traditional media like print and television. A key component of the internet is the World Wide Web, a vast network of websites offering information on nearly every imaginable topic. The web stands out. The web stands out for its ability to deliver the most current information, often reporting events faster than traditional media like television or newspapers. It is an essential resource for a wide range of users, including businesses, educational institutions, government organizations, and individuals. Whether for staying updated with the latest news, conducting research, or accessing educational resources, the web provides unmatched global access to the information. Dear learners, these are some information about data and data sources and their types in the libraries. Now let us discuss what is a digital footprint. Digital footprint are defined as the set of digital trails that we leave as a result of our interactions in the different digital environments. This include social networks, learning management platform, and massive online courses. Digital footprint also includes spaces and digital information systems, which include forums, blogs, and wiki. A digital footprint are considered traces of data that a person leaves voluntarily or involuntarily online. So now let us see what are different types of digital footprint. There are two types of digital footprint is visible. One is the passive, another is active. The passive digital footprint means the digital footprint related to those personal data accessible online without the deliberate intervention and knowledge of an individual. And the active digital footprint are built voluntarily, often in specific context with the specific audiences in mind, such as the case of digital footprint generated by the deliberate publication of messages or the exchange of information. Learners, now let us discuss what are the measures to increase digital footprint in digital libraries. Because it is essential to increase the digital footprint in the libraries, because the funding agencies, especially the ranking agencies, they always ask the libraries what is your digital footprint, how many people are visiting your databases, how many people are visiting your online resources. So it is very essential to improve the ranking of the institutions to increase the digital footprint in digital libraries. The first point is improve our accessibility. To improve the accessibility, we should ensure the library website and resource portal are mobile friendly. And it should be a ADA compliance. Design interfaces are design, sorry. And it should be a ADA compliance. That means design interfaces for accessibility. That means screen readers, adjustable text size, etc. And single sign-on, simplify authentication for accessing digital resources. Language options like it should offer multilingual interfaces wherever applicable. The second aspect is enhanced resource discovery. We have to adapt to the integrated search systems. For example, we have to use the discovery tools like EBSCO discovery tool or any other discovery tools like Primo to unify the resource access so that people can have an integrated search facility to search information among various databases. And another important aspect you have to do to have the accessibility of information is metadata enhancement. Ensure accurate and comprehensive metadata for your all e-resources. And we can also adopt recommendation systems to suggest related resources based on user behavior and their preferences so that it will enhance the discovery of information from various databases. And another important aspect is to improve the digital footprint is to provide training and support. We have to organize workshops and tutorials to train the users about how to use digital tools and databases. And we can create video tutorials, FAQs for self-learning through various online methods. And we have to introduce the embedded librarianship to integrate librarian support directly into digital platform or courses. To develop the collaborative features, the next step is to create annotation tools. Annotation tools are features or platforms that allow users to highlight, comment, or make notes on digital resources, such as documents, images, videos, or website. When these tools are designed to support the users, and the feedback mechanism will enable user feedback for continual improvement of the system. And next is optimize content and interfaces. We have the personalization, allow users to customize dashboards or saved searches. Intuitive interfaces, that means designing workflows and interfaces where users can achieve their goals, such as finding a resource or completing a task with the fewest possible steps or clicks. So, minimize the clicks to access the resources and ensure clear navigation. That will also help to enhance the digital footprints. Next is search refinements. That means the library should have the facility to filter their search queries for a specific content, type, years, or authors. And libraries also to do some steps to increase the awareness of various e-resources among the users. Libraries can start outreach campaigns to promote resources through emails, social media, and the various events. Libraries can organize some events, outreach events, to attract the users towards the electronic resources. And libraries can also make the user analytics, use the data insights to understand what is user needs and refine to the outreach activities. The libraries also should introduce leverage technologies like artificial intelligence based chatbots, virtual reality and augmented reality, etc., to assist the users to get answer for their queries in 24/7 basis. So, dear learners, let us conclude. Libraries are repositories of diverse information sources encompassing various data types and sources which collectively form the backbone of knowledge dissemination. These resources can be categorized into primary, secondary, tertiary sources, each serving distinct research and informational needs. Institutions and organizations, as a source of information, further enrich the data landscape by providing structured, reliable, and field-specific content. In the digital age, the focus has shifted significantly towards enhancing the digital footprint of libraries. By integrating digital resources and adopting user-centric digital strategies, libraries not only increase their accessibility and usability, but also play a crucial role in supporting academic, research, and professional pursuits. Expanding this digital footprint is essential not only for user satisfaction, but also for demonstrating the library's value to the stakeholders and the higher authorities for ranking and funding purposes. Dear learners, this is the end of this session. Library data, type and sources, and digital footprints. I hope you enjoyed the session, and we will meet again with another topic. Till then, goodbye. Thank you.